welcome everyone to session 70. I will switch things around as needed. Um, and I'll keep kind of a feel on that pulse. But I'm the Wombat of DM, and welcome to session 71 of our Seregen campaign. We've been going for over 3 years now in this campaign, and we are getting closer and ever closer to the end of this storyline. But we're not there yet. We've got plenty to do. Um, and before we talk about what happened last time, let's let the group introduce themselves. First of all, we've got Belzian Gilkis, the half-elf monk. He is not here today, but I will be channeling his spirit as I can, giving all the good vibes to the group and bringing in some Canadian spirit.
Canadian spirits like Crown Royal.
Yes. Indeed.
I'm Amadus. I play Roger Mays, the Wood Elf Assassin. Wood Elf Assassin? Yes, he would. And that's why we're missing 2 players tonight.
And eventually we're gonna have Ulrich Oakenhearth, the vampire paladin. Uh, I don't have a witty catchphrase, but I'm here. But not really.
I'm Jaeger. I play Yarvik Venisonbringer, the Halfling Ranger. Yo.
And I'm Atomic. I play Zippo, the Cobalt Sorcerer. I'm here to maybe possibly burn every piece of Seregen down if we go back there. For personal reasons.
And we have a special guest for tonight.
Hi, I am Briar, your Queen of Brambles, and I am reprising my role as the Baroness Bavon Therese.
Yes. And that is our party for today. So hopefully we will have Ulrich back at some point soon. But in the meantime, let's talk about what happened last time. Anybody care to share any details about what happened in the last session? Because a lot did happen.
Negotiating and promises. All the really important details are in the contract. Aside from Ulrich turning into a vampire.
Yes, so the party met with the Vampire Queen this last session. And with that, drew up a contract, 9.5 point contract, dictating many things, but ultimately bringing the vampires into the fold of the alliance against Orcus. There were several conditions, one of which being the vampires get both of the silver swans, which we'll talk about in a moment. In order to help secure the deal, Ulrich volunteered to become a vampire to have a member of their nation on the diplomats group, which is I guess, kind of what the group is now kind of calling themselves, the diplomats, right? That's kind of your name, because it's been in several contracts now. Is that so? Um, and Yeah, so basically, Ulrich turned into a vampire. Yarvik and Roger drew up the contract, and Zippo and Yarvik drew up. Zippo and Yarvik went and got the swans out of the bag, and Belzian and Roger drew up the contract. So that's kind of where we got to at the end of the session. The queen was given the swans, the party and the queen signed the contract. And then promptly after the contract was signed, the queen shattered the artifacts that she was given. The swans were destroyed. And she stated that the sword was now sharper. So that is where we left off last time. Did I miss anything, party, or is that about cover it?
Nope. All the bad juju, pretty much.
Yeah, I think that about covers it.
All right. So, Brambles, or Baroness Bavon, is currently off screen. She was dismissed by the Queen 2 sessions ago. Although last time she did come in briefly, this is one thing I forgot to mention. She came in briefly, stormed into the throne room because her contract was broken as soon as Zippo went into the Marsupialis. Because part of the contract dictated that if anyone entered it, it would end the contract terms. So she sensed that and came in to investigate and found everything to be mostly all right and left again. So that I believe sums everything up now. So all right. So that being said, let us continue. So the queen, after stating what she said last time, kind of breathes a deep sigh. She looks kind of a little bit less tired, like she has a little bit less to worry about. And she seems a little bit giddy with this. It may be that she just signed a contract, it may be that she just turned a new vampire, or it may be that she broke the swans and got one of the weaknesses of the vampires cured. But maybe all three. Who knows? But she definitely seems a little bit more jubilant.
Very well then. I suppose we had best be heading out and leaving you to your royal duties, Your Highness.
Leaving so soon, are you, love bug?
Well, now that you mention it, um, I had an interest in looking around your fine city here on the way in, but we were in such a hurry. We didn't get the chance to look at it very much.
The Baroness didn't give you a tour of the city as she came all through.
Oh, we got to see a few spots here and there, but not.
We were a little pressed for time.
I don't see how that changes now that we've got a contract signed. But um, what is it that you wanted to see in particular?
Well, it might be nice to see the sights so we can tell of the great works of your people, as well as perhaps buy a souvenir to bring back home. Something to gift to our king. Not even necessarily from you in particular. Um,
Well, if this one's intentions are true, you might be just gifting it to your friend here. She nudges Ulrich playfully. Ulrich
and I have
looks kind of uncomfortable.
I have known Ulrich for much longer than I have known our king. Uh, that only makes me even more determined to find a suitable gift.
Well, before you go, I have a few things to talk about still. And I also am interested to ask what your plan is for leaving this great city. Especially because, well, just because you are now allied with us doesn't mean that it is necessarily safe to walk around freely. So, let's first talk the war effort. So we have an agreement, a pact of, well, non-aggression. I will not I will continue to not invade the other two nations. And in return, I expect the same. But I assume at some point we must go on an offensive with Orcus. We can't just play defense. We'll never get him out, and he'll be able to grow stronger. So I ask, do you have a plan for this movement? Or if you do not, what is the plan to organize in such a time when it is time to strike?
I believe our
This is-
goal is to get everybody to the table. We are not the leaders of our lands. We're the messengers.
Yes.
So I would say that the war planning would be to the leaders of our various realms.
And what have the leaders of Relic, the military force that sent you here, what is their plan? What plan of attack do they have against Orcus? How can I support?
That would be something that you would need to ask them. Again, I think that's probably a little above our pay grade. We're basically diplomats. So
We have 2 clauses in the contract we just signed that may help with this very question. Firstly, we've all agreed that military forces may cross the borders between our nations if and only if necessary to pursue mutual military objectives, with some restrictions, of course. But also that diplomatic envoys can be granted peaceful passage as continued communication is needed. So I would expect once news of this signing has returned, that you should expect diplomatic envoys, more people like us, or perhaps us again, bearing news of the war effort, plans, or maybe even requests. Although hopefully those will be as reasonable as possible, and you will be entitled to send the same envoys, messengers, and so forth.
And as messengers, how do you plan to notify the denizens of Relic and Seregen that we have agreed to such a treaty? If I send diplomats without them knowing, well, there could be some misunderstandings.
Absolutely. Our original hope was to get back to Seregen as quickly as possible. The leaders of Relic are already aware of this specific goal, and a lot of our knowledge of Orcus comes from them. So we need to bring all that we've learned in Relic and here, and all that we've agreed on in Relic and here, back to Seregen as proof of our success, but also to get Seregen's leadership involved.
She pauses thoughtfully at this. Are there any resources that you need in order to assist with this process to get the ball rolling?
Swift passage to the borders of your lands would be incredibly valuable in making sure that we arrive before any other envoys you send do. Beyond that, something that we can give from you or your subjects to hand to diplomatic envoys that might be sent in our stead into Necrata, so that they could be identified as envoys safely here.
She thinks for a moment. I'll think on what we could do. I mean, there's always. Uh, I think Oki here could probably think of something to mark anyone he sends. But I'll think on it. I have a knack for sending messages great distances. I have scrolls that I distribute to my diplomats as they frequent the kingdom so that we may communicate. Those who cannot make the spell themselves. Would you be interested in some?
Absolutely.
Could stay in communication with us that way, now that you know, well, and she gestures to herself, now that you know what I look like. But you could also potentially reach out to whoever else you must.
One word of concern, and I think we mentioned this earlier, but when last we tried to cast a sending spell across the old borders of the wall, it failed. It may only be reliable within Necrata's borders unless you've already tested it beyond them.
No, but I assume if it still works within the borders, that if you're toward the center, you could just cross over into each territory and spread the word.
Absolutely. Roger thinks for a bit. Yeah, that would be a pretty efficient approach, actually. We could speak to Rift and to Marius or Jordan very quickly on either side and learn where we're needed in Seregen and what help is needed in Relic and report back to you.
How many scrolls?
Let's make it 5 just in case. If we try to reach out to somebody who's already fallen in the war against Orcus, I'd like a backup for that. If all of our contacts are dead, we'll let you know. But I don't expect that to be the case.
She walks over to this area where around the circle there isn't just a bare wall, but an inset of drawers and cabinets that are in a semicircle along the wall. She reaches into one of the cabinets and pulls out an ornate box with gold inlay. It seems to be made of a dark wood, maybe a mahogany, Ulrich. And she brings it to the group. It has, Zippo, you recognize the rune is one that is of sending. It's a sending rune. The box isn't itself magical, but it's marked as it's a magical label. So she opens a hinge, and inside is 10 sending scrolls, and she's like, "I'm doubling your order." And she hands you the box, Roger.
For 10, you said?
10.
Well, thank you.
Now, before I bring my previous audience back in for pleasantries before y'all figure out what you're doing next, is there anything else you seek in this audience with yours truly?
Roger looks over at the rest of the party.
I think we're good.
I'd like to pet a Dracolich, but I feel like that's probably something I can figure out myself at some point in time.
Yes, petting such a thing is not possible. I'm sorry, little one.
I'll figure it out.
I figure you want your body intact.
Yes, Zippo's body is very important to us.
Well then, I shall bring back my denizens. And she claps her hands, and uh, Bavon, you hear the clap. You know that the queen has opened her chambers back up because the door in front of you uh, reopens. And part of you recognize that several doors to the chamber open. The doors on either side of you both open. The one that the Baroness and the King went through, and then the one directly opposite that.
Does the king come out with me?
Uh, the King turns and looks at you. You were both probably in conversation prior to the door open, or maybe just enjoying each other's company. But yeah, he looks to you and says, "Well, guess it's time to go back in." Um, with a look that says, "I guess it's time to go back in." He doesn't say it.
I will offer my arm for him to prop as we walk back into the.
Yep. Yeah, it looks like he was waiting for your hand to lead him. So, um, the king and the baroness enter stage left and enter the room. Ah, Baroness, welcome back, Bavon. I trust that the king was a generous host.
Your Majesty, he was delightful as always.
Excellent. I'm sure you noticed things have changed.
Yes, Your Majesty. I take it that negotiations have gone smoothly.
They have gone quite well. I'm very pleased at the quarry you have brought me. We have even strengthened our numbers. And she gestures to Ulrich.
The Baroness will curtsy at the we are very pleased. And she will nod approvingly at Ulrich.
So the queen then gives Bavon a full summary of what happened. We've agreed to a peace treaty, and we have joined with the other two nations against Orcus. It is good that we are all here, because there are many people that will need to know and hear this message. Are you ready for some extra responsibilities, my dear?
For you, my queen, I will shoulder every responsibility you ask of me.
Excellent. There is much to do, but our friends here, I will show you the contract, and we shall discuss and strategize our efforts in the war. But the party wishes to explore the city, which I have expressly warned them against. But they are also looking for an exit to, well, their homelands of Seregen. Since you brought them here, do you know of any expedient ways of sending them back? They seem to imply there was a device that I believe they gave back to you not too long ago.
Yes, Your Majesty. This is a prototype I have been working on. And she pulls out the one half of the marsupial pear from her newly reobtained bag. I am still testing out its stability, but the utility it has offered me in the meantime has been extraordinary.
Tell me more.
With my marsupialis, I am able to hold a charm on any kind at a distance, so long as the charmed kind is in possession of the other end.
Fascinating. It seems like it's also an enterable space. It seems like this one, and she gestures to Zippo, I was able to enter it and retrieve, well, the swans from it.
There is a size limitation at present, but yes, it is quite easily enterable as well, a tunnel through the plane.
Provided that you're small enough. It's like a little bangle. She kind of gestures to one of her bracelets on her wrist. I expect you could also turn into mist and enter through it then. Might be
Yes,
might be a nice way of sending some reinforcements in the future. How many are there?
at present, Your Majesty, there is only the one. As I said, this is a prototype I have been testing.
I see. Do you have the capabilities of making more?
I do, Your Majesty, and given the experiment on stability thus far, I think it would be safe to proceed in doing so.
Well, you have my full support. Let me know what I can do to make this dream of yours a reality. And you may continue with these experiments. I am excited to see what that great mind of yours thinks of next.
I am most appreciative of your kind words, Your Majesty.
She nods. So she turns back to the group at this point and she says, Mayoneer is a city filled with wolves and your rabbits, my dears. I cannot in good conscience allow this party of diplomats to go unguarded, and as much as I would love the Baroness to show you around, well, we just signed a contract with what will be a great effort, and I really need her by my side. And the king, too. I would spare the king in a heartbeat under regular circumstances, but I'm sure you understand. It would have to be another time.
We understand, Your Majesty.
Still, you wish to bring something back to your future king? I may have just the thing. And she turns quietly. And I say quietly because she's still kind of not always stepping on the floor. She kind of hovers a lot of the time. She still makes the motion of walking, but she's not really. Her weight is not obeying the laws of gravity that you've come to expect of somebody moving around of space. And she walks back to the area behind her throne where the piles of treasure are, those offerings I mentioned in the first session in this room. And she scans across it. Until she comes across a opal, a black opal. It's maybe the size of a human eye. So about this big. She twirls it in her between her fingers, blows on it, and a rust color kind of alights within the opal and colors it in a swirl before she nods satisfied and walk floats back to the group and flourishes the opal to Roger. The opal now bears a crescent moon. The crescent moon is a reddish rust color, and there are bands of red kind of flecked throughout the opal.
Roger kind of bows and graciously accepts the opal. Thank you, Your Highness.
I've already given Ulrich a gift. Zippo, Belzian, Yarvik. Is there anything else you require? Oh, come now. Next time I might not be so generous. She pouts.
Zippo's kind of just like looking around.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and he's he's almost lost in thought. He's like, well, the only reason I wanted to look in town was to see if you guys had any cool magic items. I've only ever been to one magic shop. And it was run by the same guy every time. His name was Carl. He was cool. But I got a really cool robe from him for a discount because I hated the other magic shop owner.
That's a good question. Would there be a particularly magical magic shop in town? Mysterious proprietor who may or may not be able to be in multiple cities at the same time?
Yarvik, this whole town is filled with magical shops. I can hardly keep track.
I think we should have shopped on the way here.
Maine
I could have
is
found cool
filled
magic
with old
items.
magics. Anything in particular you're looking for, young Zippo? Or are you just looking to peruse?
I was kind of just hoping I could find something that, fits me and, is awesome. The only reason I want to go back to Seregen is because there was a magic shop that had this really cool bear statue that if you hit the button, it became a pet bear, and that was awesome.
No, I don't have anything like that, unfortunately.
It's okay. I only ever seen one of them. Honestly, I might just go back and murder the guy and take it from him if he still wants a crazy price for it. It's okay though. He's a weird guy that likes to turn people into statues.
I wonder if he is friends with a Medusa of some sort. And you, Yavik?
I don't think I need anything. I'm good to go. There's nothing. Just completing the mission is good. I'm all right. Yarvik kind of just looking forward to. Yarvik wants to get back to his. We deposited our weapons, correct? We didn't bring weapons into this chamber. I forget.
The weapons are at a table at the end of the room, back toward the entrance.
Yeah. Also, has the magic been dispelled? Like, can we use the magic?
The chamber is still dispelled at this point, yes.
Okay. I think mostly I'm just ready to get back on the road. I appreciate your very kind offer.
A shame.
I just don't know what to ask for. Out of character, I just don't know what to ask. I wasn't thinking. I wasn't requesting thinking to ask for anything. I was like, I don't know. I'm just kind of drawing a blank.
Yeah, I mean, Roger just asked for a thing to give to the leader of Seregen as a token of goodwill from Necrata. He didn't want anything for himself.
Yeah, I figured I would go with the story about the bear because the odds of her having one weren't very high, and if she did have one and she did give it to me, that'd be cool. Because the only other things the Zippo would ask for is like things that don't make sense to me as a player, and also don't make sense to Zippo, like a robe that would make him immortal. No such thing. Just so he has more time to figure out how to become a dragon.
I think mostly Yarvik just wants to get out of Necrata. I think he just wants to leave.
Fair enough, honestly.
Well, if there's nothing else you need, then she shrugs. You know where to find me, sweeties. And she gestures for the king to come with her, and she kind of backs up toward the throne. And before she begins speaking with him again, she says, Bavon, I know you traveled with these deers for some time, and you're going to be helping them out of Necrata. Feel free to say your goodbyes, but come on over when you're done.
Yes, Your Majesty. And she'll do a very, very deep curtsy, back away a few steps, and then turn around to leave, gesturing for the party to follow her.
Roger is going to spend the next 5 minutes re-equipping all of his gear at the exit door.
All right, I'll drag everyone toward that area down here.
I'll go to the table with all of my stuff on it and just begin hiding weapons back inside of shoes and in the pants legs and up my sleeves and so forth.
Okay. Yarvik, as soon as the anti-magic field dropped, you have been hearing in your head insistently yelling, kill the vampires, kill them all, kill them dead. Like they're quite insistent.
Look, and this is. I'm assuming that I have to. I don't have to vocalize, right? This is in my head, so I can reply to them in my head.
I think by this point you have figured that out. Yes.
So, okay, fellas. Look, I know you want to kill the vampires. I get it. This is not the time. We are in the very den of all that is vampire. we have to play it cool for right now. There may come a time in the not too distant future when we will have to kill a bunch of vampires, but that is not right now. Just chill with me here for a little bit. Let us get out of here.
You hear a
We can
voice
talk
say,
about it more.
You had him alone and you didn't kill him then. Now you have the queen of them and you're not even raising a bow.
Right now, we need the queen in our good graces so the entire land and everything in it, including all of you, are not destroyed. We got to play the long game here, fellas. We got to play the long game.
Listen,
Trust me, there will be a time to kill vampires.
I know all about the long game. This is not something you want to do. You should kill it now.
We're not killing her now. Chill out. We're not killing her now. We need her now.
Okay. And the twins
I love
say
that he sounds like he's like from he runs an Italian restaurant in the Bronx. I love that.
the twins say at the same time, "Don't say we didn't warn you."
All right, fine. I'll take it under advisement. This is done under duress, but we're not gonna go to war with the vampires right now in the middle of the vampire throne room.
It's only 3 vampires. Oh, okay. Shut up. And they fall silent. All right. So by this point, everyone has their weapons, I assume. Zippo, did you have any weapons to drop? You just put your bags
No.
down, right?
Yeah, I just put my bag down.
Belzian retrieves his daggers and looks longingly at the club that Roger puts back in his pack. Ulrich retrieves his weapons as well. Kind of idly looking at them before pocketing them. He's oddly silent.
So do we just get out the way I came back, or? Zippo's looking at Roger when he says that.
We're leaving the planning to me. I thought the Queen said that the Baroness was going to get us out of here.
Oh, I wasn't listening to her. I was thinking about the bear statue after I mentioned it. No, I don't want that.
The Baroness rolls her eyes impatiently.
Are we all ready now? Roger says, definitely having been the last person to be ready.
It's funny because what happened is everybody else just grabs their one thing that's on the table, and then they all just wait for you to finish, and then ask you, "So what are we doing?" The audacity.
That's the kind of audacity we respect in here. Well, if nobody has any more silly questions, then I am ready at least, Roger says.
So, what's the plan?
Well, unless you wish to tempt your fate in order to look around the shops, as you mentioned, I think I ought to rather quickly escort you out of the city.
That seems reasonable. We will follow your lead, Baroness.
Very well. As before, stick close. I want to find a rather secluded spot before I let you through my marsupialis.
We could just do it right now.
The other barons should be shuffling in very soon.
I think specifically we are trying to avoid their attention, among other things. Well, Baroness, we follow your lead.
All right. So the Baroness begins walking through the doors and out into Maynir. All right. So, being that we know the path that we traveled through the city, I am going to delete our path now. If that's okay with everyone.
No, no, my path.
The path. Why can't I grab that one? There we go. All right, cool. All right.
If I remember correctly, there's a group of homes for the nobles in this area.
So these areas are, it seems like, ornate statues with history and things like that. The homes for the nobles are the blue homes down to the south of the upper level, on the other side of the chamber of dreamers. So
Okay,
all
so
all
all the
those
way down
blue
here.
all those blue roofs, yeah. This is a military site here, and then this is kind of more archaeology and scholarly stuff in this area.
Okay, so the Baroness will pick the rest of her entourage back up and hustle the ambassadors down towards her home down at the south side of the city.
Okay. Your home is one of the first across the bridge. It's the one that I'm... Actually, no, it's this one here. The Baroness begins leading the group. So I know it's a big map, so I will now do another freehand drawing. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be traveling along here and due south along the edge of the upper wall. That being said, you're going to be going past several things. So I guess, are there any actions while we are traveling throughout the city? Anything that people are looking out for? Anything people want to do?
Just looking for a Carl's out.
Okay. Give me a perception check for the travel to the south.
Oh, yay.
All right, thank you. Zippo, what would you say?
Hey. I also would like to see a Carl's.
Okay, you're both looking for Carl's. Sounds
but
good.
I can read.
Yes, you can. That will help. All right, Roger.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Is there anything that you are doing while we are traveling to the south?
Just looking around like normal,
Okay.
making sure, keeping an eye out for danger.
Sounds good. All right, so I'm not going to bother describing the archaeology area again. Just as a reminder, they're 12-sided obelisks with various symbols. They're not in writing, so Zippo, you don't automatically know what they depict, but you can guess that some of the pictures probably are telling some histories of some sort. So if you were around for a bit longer, you might be able to kind of circle around the obelisks and see what they have to say, perhaps.
Yeah, any pictures of dragons that I see on said obelisks, I will immediately be like, ooh,
There seems to be some depictions of flame, and maybe some teeth, or that could maybe be stalagmites and tights. Who knows? But what I will say is, why don't we, since we are kind of traveling through the city, and this is kind of a natural stopping point. I know we just started a little bit ago, but why don't we take a brief 10-minute break, see if Ulrich is back with us by the end of the break, and we'll go from there. Because I'd hate to leave Mayoneer without the player with us. So let's see what we can do. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, folks. So we will be back in 10 minutes. We're just going to take a quick break. And then from there, we will resume the session with the second half. See you then. And we are back, and I need to sneeze, so give me one moment. It's just lingering. What the hell? What a night. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back from our break. We are currently traveling through the city of Mayoneer to a private location that the Baroness is leading the party to. We are currently leaving the archaeology area, or the scholarly area of Mayoneer, and heading toward what looks to be military encampment with some larger structures kind of mixed in. One thing that you'll notice is that it's fairly bare at the moment. There's evidence of weaponry, of armor. It definitely looks like to you, Roger, and to you, Ulrich, like this has been situated as a base. You know, it's got all the clandestine signs. But it's not very active. It doesn't seem like a place that just agreed to go to war. So maybe word hasn't currently gotten out yet. Fairness, I assume you lead them straight through.
I will lead them straight through unless they pose any questions or try to stray away.
Who, us?
Roger, you know for a fact you're being watched. You just don't. You know that it's in the area, but you don't know where. Your perception is telling you that there are invisible persons following the group. You can hear them. You can't directly place them, but you know that they're there.
Do I have a rough idea of how many?
At least 3. They're trailing the group. Jaeger, Zippo, you do not see any sign of Carl's in this military installation.
It doesn't seem like a Carl kind of place.
I'll inform the rest of the party over the rings that we're being followed, but not to raise a big stir about it.
Over the rings of like, do you think they know where Carl's is?
If they knew where Carl's was, Zippo, they wouldn't be following us, because we clearly have no idea where we're going.
Maybe they're following us to see if we can find it on our own. Then they're going to take us to Carl's.
Well, then we can't give up the game too early.
Oh yeah, 100%. And as Zippo says that, he will kind of like drop his hands down, and one of them will make a slight wave motion.
Trying to wave at the invisible people?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll wave back.
D1 make a D100, please.
92.
Okay. Good to know. The Baroness takes you along the eastern edge so that you have a better look at the city between buildings as you get into what seems to be more higher end residential. The Baroness can go into more detail on this, but basically, Baroness, these are higher ranking vampires, mostly lieutenants in the army, or special guest housing. The group might have stayed here had they had a longer stay.
We're halfway there and making good time. I see that everyone is perfectly languid as ever around here.
So it would seem.
With purpose, the Baroness moves through the buildings, angling inward at this point to head toward the main thoroughfare. The Library of Memories comes into view. This is the Great Palace looking structure you saw earlier. It, again, doesn't have much in the way of fortification. There are lots of steps kind of winding up into the different parapets and things like that. So presumably people could be in their station to, fire arrows and things. There is a great cog to the north side of it here. It looks like it's a wheel that can be turned. There's a sluice gate in the magma falls just north of it. So it seems like at least this magma flow can be stopped from continuing into the city for whatever purpose.
One of my favorite places to visit. A shame I won't be able to give you a tour. Perhaps you'll come back and I'll be able to show it to you properly.
I was just about to say, all the more reason for us to find an excuse to come back here.
Wait, we're finding an excuse to come back here, you said? I gotta throw all my excuses away.
You don't need to come along, Zippo, if you don't really want to.
Fair enough. I'm probably gonna stay in the dragons, stay with the coolest things ever whenever I get a chance.
Well, I would enjoy spending some more time with them too, when all of this is over. But we'll see.
Indeed.
So there is somewhat of a half wall just on the other side of the bridge that leads to the Library of Memories. But the bridge itself does not. It seems like a solid bridge. It's not able to be revoked in any way. No drawbridge or anything of the sort. So you continue on and through. Baroness, I assume you probably stopped them at the height of the steps here, right?
Yes, I would.
So from here, everyone can see pretty much the entirety of Maynir. You could see a good portion of it from the palace up to the north, but from here you can see every angle of Maynir, the entire caldera, the great bridge spanning across it, and the path leading up to where you currently stand. You can see the main gates out to the east of you, kind of just peeking behind the curve of the rock that the path leads through. And you can see pretty much all of the tiers of the city here. No angle is hidden from view. It's pretty. It's quite an impressive thing to be so far underground and yet to see such a great expanse. If ever there were a time to feel small,
Amazing. Well, amazing they built all this underground.
Roger, you get the sense that this is quite a lot bigger than Jane. It reminded you of Jane at first, but this is maybe twice the amount, maybe more than twice.
I would say each half of this city is as big as Jane, and maybe even then some. And still not sure if we've seen all of it. Truly impressive work, but in fairness, they have been actively maintaining it for a lot longer than you humans have. Well, we'll have to build something suitably big back home just to show them up.
That'll teach them.
Look, if we're going for the cultural victory, we need to have the biggest dome, okay?
Winning the hearts and minds. Bigger, better theory. I like this.
Yes, we'll get them singing our pop songs and wearing our blue jeans in no time.
Yep, we'll take over their culture by TV and movies, or scrolls and lute music, I guess.
Who could possibly resist?
We just need to give them a Beatles.
We do know a bard.
True.
Well, we're almost there. Shall we continue?
Sure.
Yeah?
Right, you come to a second bridge, the first of which you traveled across last session, or 2 sessions ago, I guess, at this point. This bridge is a bit wider, and again seems to, well, I'll put it this way. The closer you got to the Palace of Memories, the less buildings there were. It seems a bit sparser here. You do see evidence of maybe construction here in the past, like maybe there were more buildings here. Or maybe these buildings are newer and some of the stone from those old buildings was repurposed to make them. Whatever the case, the buildings on either side of that main passage step that you saw earlier, these are fairly new. But across the bridge, those buildings are much older looking. They're even made from a darker stone. And you kind of cross this bridge, and you feel the rush of air, though it is cool as it's rushing up from the lava. You see the shimmering barrier below from the magma river. There's a shimmering barrier kind of shielding what must be some of the heat from it. As you continue across, it's not a sensation of uncomfortable warmth or a hot summer day. It's more like a cool autumn breeze.
The best kind.
The other side, the road slopes upward and comes to meet a second road that leads back toward the palace. Sorry, not the palace, the Library of Memories. There seems to be a second bridge that directly accesses it. And then the Baroness motions that her house is yonder.
Let's say, does that count as an invite for Ulrich?
Please enter.
Thank you
Ah,
kindly.
I guess I won't get to find out. But we will enter, presumably.
Everyone enters.
Everyone except for Femur, who escorts the rest of the entourage elsewhere.
To the small building to the east. All right.
Well, I suppose this is where we say our fondest and not so fond farewells.
Well, it has been a unique experience working with you and with all of your employees, such as they are, and with your most gracious host and most gracious queen. And perhaps we will be back at some point in the future.
I would look forward to it. And she procures the marsupialis out from her bag and opens it up.
Tell me, Baroness, what will you do with the marsupialis after we're done using it? Should we be taking it with us, or are we leaving it there?
You will leave it there. I will retrieve it myself. I will need both halves of the pair in order to fill out the Queen's request. And surely you will want me to be able to do so, since that will ensure a larger number of reinforcements.
Absolutely.
Ulrich nods cordially. I got some directions from Ulrich.
Excellent. Well, I suppose Ulrich doesn't need any assistance getting through this now, but Zippo, I believe the rest of us still do.
Well, I don't think I currently possess all the bells and whistles that come with, well, our kind. The Queen said that will take some time.
Okay.
Well, sounds like a big old pile of polymorphs it is, then.
How many you got
Indeed.
left, Zippo? I know you've kind of been using a lot of spells today, and this is still the same day as that battle from earlier.
I have, including sorcery points, because I haven't used any earlier, or I haven't used any at all, actually. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and counting my twinned ability. 7 spell slots, so I think that math is right. Hold on.
So we've got 5
Sorry,
people.
8. I have 8, and I have 4 spell slots. That's the math. I was off by 1. I was wondering why. I was like looking at it like, what the heck?
Let's say it's only a 5th level spell, and he's got 6th level spells at this point.
Yeah, it's 4th level.
Oh, it's 4th level.
Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely have the spell slots then.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
and I can twin it on everybody else.
So just to kind of break it down, what are you using to cast polymorph? For all 5 members of the group.
I will do 2 at a time, being
You're twinning.
Yeah, I'll twin it. So it would be actually I only have 9, so I can twin it twice, which is perfect. And then when I twin it twice, I will do that for the 4 members of the group.
So you'll only be able to twin it one at a time, because it's a concentration spell, and you can't have 2 concentrations at the same time.
No, I mean I can twin it twice after casting.
Yeah, so you can twin it, and so you'd have 2, and then once
and
they
then
go through, you can drop
they go
it.
through, drop it,
Yeah.
cast it again.
Okay, got it. Making sure. I'm just getting the logistics, making sure we're accounting for it.
Yep. And then when the second ones go through, I will then cast it on myself, instructing one of them to put their hand through, so that whenever I do become a rat, they can just reach through and grab me.
Okay.
And then once all that's done, I will drop it once I get across. And that will put me down to 3 first levels, no sorcery points, 3 second levels, 2/3, and a 6th.
Got it. Anybody? So who's going first? And anybody saying anything to the Baroness as we leave?
I'll go through first.
Okay. I'll go ahead, Ulrich. Yarvik. Bleh.
I was just gonna say, to the Baroness, I can't say it's always been a pleasure, but it's always been interesting, and you've been very helpful.
Thank you.
Then I'm gonna slide out with Roger.
As those 2 are going through and being pushed through by Zippo, Belzian says, "I echo our friend's sentiments. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your kindness."
Well, if it was a pleasure, you can't say you echo his sentiments now, can you?
Oh, yes, I suppose you're right. Belzian is very embarrassed. I think that played out perfectly for Belzian.
Yeah.
Baroness, I, I, I know we didn't always see eye to eye, and well, I'm glad it all worked out in the end. Says Ulrich.
As am I. Do come visit again in the future.
I'm sure I will. But right now, I'm looking looking forward to getting back home. He says.
Of course, I understand.
He bows with respect, and Zippo, you turn Belzian and Ulrich into rats.
E.
All right, you send the vermin through.
Yep. As soon as they're done, Zippo will cast it on himself.
All right. Zippo casts the spell on himself, and the spell drops on Ulrich and Belzian. Baroness, any final words to Zippo as he's leaving?
No words, just a broad, toothy smile.
Okay.
Zippo will give you one back, only broader and toothier.
Just before you turn into a
Because
rat.
kobold mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And under his breath, he'll say, "Mine are better."
You definitely hear that, Baroness. Zippo turns into a rat. Is one of the party members grabbing him?
Sure, I'll grab him. We've already done this once.
Yeah. All right. In quite the reverse, Yarvik pulls Zippo through the bag, or through the Marsupialis portal. And out the other side, group, you find yourselves, well, in a forest.
Dun, dun, dun.
So let me move everything over. Back up to the map. Haven't been here in a bit.
So once we get a bead on whether it's safe to start looking around or not out here, we should check the globe and see exactly where we are.
Actually, this should be on the token layer. There we go. All right. So you get a look around. It seems to be fairly clear here. It is still nighttime, though it is starting to get closer to day at this point. It seems like you've been treating through the night, as it were. Makes sense why the city was so active now. You still find the pair of bedrolls amidst the party on the ground, as well as the carcass of Gormir, who has in the last day or so turned a bit more ripe. Otherwise, not much has happened. He doesn't look like he's been bothered in any other way other than his initial death. Like, no creatures have been gnawing at him.
What do we think? Do we take the time to inter poor Gormir?
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
And since you've cleared the area, Roger, you don't see anything of note that's dangerous in the immediate vicinity. Ulrich brings out the globe, and I'm pinging where we are on the map. We're south, more west than south of Aurora.
Oh, we're quite near the center point of the continent. That's actually really convenient.
Very much so.
We should head there once we're done with this. Although maybe getting a good night's sleep would be preferable first.
Ulrich's got watch. All of it. Yarvik says as he shovels away diligently at a hole underneath it, near a nice tree where Gormir can spend eternity.
Ulrich works to help you, but I don't think we have shovels, do we? Do any of us have shovels? I think we've established this before.
Yeah, I think we did have this conversation. I don't think we have shovels.
I know Roger has a pickaxe.
I have a cantrip for moving dirt.
Aha.
Oh, okay.
So you watch Yarvik and Ulrich moving dirt with makeshift items, and then
I just
just
put
kinda
my
shake your
hand
head.
out, raise a 5-foot cube of dirt out of the ground and move it off to the side. Like, come on, folks.
just look at Rogers like, that could have been useful. And then just kind of stands aside, gestures to the ground grandly. Please continue.
I dug the last grave, and I decided I wasn't doing any more of that shit by hand. Roger will, with this party's help, lower Gormir into the grave and then cover him back up.
So, Roger, is that like a normal elf burial?
What's that?
I said, is that like a normal elf burial? Zippo says.
I have no idea how the elves here in Necrata do it. Most of the burials I saw were mass graves.
So like this, but bigger. Gotcha.
Yep, bigger pits, more bodies. Elves, humans, kobolds, gnomes, halflings, all alike.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when the wall that went down. It's gonna be very confusing for the kobold burials now, because we kind of just threw bodies into the wall.
We
Now I
elves
guess
haven't done that in a long time.
that means that there's probably just a bunch of boats with kobold bodies in the line between the mountains down there.
Well, that will be an interesting sight to behold, I'm sure.
Well, Roger, I think that we're now evenly matched in terms of the amount of sleep we both need.
Heh. Just a quick rest.
How long is the group planning on doing as a rest?
A long rest, presumably, for Zippo spell slots, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Same. I have a couple of hit points I could recover. So, but yeah, getting a spell slot back would be useful.
It has been a long day for sure. I, for one, could use a rest.
Me too. And Zippo will open his bag and go down and pet on Brunhild for a little bit.
Brunhild is not in there. No, I'm just kidding. She looks happy to see you.
I was about to go back through that marsupial. That whole town was about to burn. I'll feed her some rations.
Okay.
And I will pet on her while the party's setting up camp, I assume. And then I'll just kind of mess around with my hoard of stuff and look at that armor, hoping I can find somebody that can reshape it to my size. And then, yeah, once we're ready for rests, I'll come back up and sleep.
All right. Yarvik, you're going to sleep too, I assume. Anything you're doing before bed?
Yarvik is crashed out. He's asleep. He's asleep on his feet. So
Okay.
Yarvik is well and truly done for the day.
So I assume setting up camp means moving away from the bedrolls that you're currently kind of standing amongst that have been bloodied by Gormir? Or did you clean up that area too with the burial?
I don't think we're going to get any use out of those bedrolls, and we've already taken all of our stuff from them, presumably.
Do you loot Gormir's body, or did you just bury him whole?
I would have definitely taken his knives.
All right.
I don't know.
So I guess you give me a search on him.
Yeah, we'll roll the investigation, I guess.
Yeah. I will.
Well, that was unlikely, but we take it. 24.
Okay. Wow, it's been so long since I've logged into D&D Beyond that I have to put in a code.
You don't just check on our character sheets every once in a while?
I mean, we didn't meet for a month and a half, right? So,
Fair.
let's see here. All right, so things of interest for Gormier. All right, so you find 10 daggers to add to your collection. They are each simple elven daggers, elven made. He has light leather armor that has been bloodied and is messy. He has a sprig of mistletoe, a dice set, 50 feet of hempen rope, a tinderbox, torch, and water skin. He seemed to travel light, and does not appear to be attuned to any items, or at least if he had any magical items, they are not currently on his possession.
All right, I will go ahead and pocket all of those things.
The daggers could be magical, though. You might want to have somebody take a look.
We might. In any case, I'll leave a pair of them buried in the ground as a marker for the grave.
Okay.
So I'll keep 8.
Inspiration.
I already had it. If anybody else needs inspiration, you should take it.
I still have mine. I do still have inspiration, actually. I should use that. I haven't used it in a long time.
Zippo, do you have inspiration?
I do.
Uh-oh.
We haven't been rolling a ton of dice lately.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I have been generous with them inspiration points.
We appreciate it.
I'm sure you do.
I have the same problem in Baldur's Gate. I get inspiration, and I'm like, but I don't really need to use this on this roll, and then I don't.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. So Zippo and Yarvik are asleep. Roger, are you letting Ulrich do the watch and you resting for 2 hours? Belzian asks if there's a watch he could take.
We should still be pairing off for watches, even though Ulrich doesn't need as much sleep as he used to.
Well, it seems that we'll have to wake up some of our friends then. Later on. I will take second watch then.
Yep. So this first watch, Ulrich and
I guess you.
yeah, I suppose.
All right. I just didn't want to have Belzian and Ulrich in the same watch for my own sanity.
Oh, I don't know. I think that would have been really entertaining.
It's the Wombat show. Watch as Wombat reenacts an entire session of every single member of the party because they're not there.
We'll give you some puppets.
Oh God.
Yeah. It's this three-quarter buster that plays the trombone, the guitar, and the drum all at the same time. It sings a tune.
I just imagine getting all of those, grabby animals where you have like the claw and they bite and you can grab things from afar, but there's like one for each character. And I'm just like puppeting them. All right. All right. So first watch. I'll need perception checks. I'll do Ulrich's.
And I guess Rogers. Here we go. 27.
All right. The sun is rising as watch starts. Ulrich is a bit nervous about the sun rising, knowing what he currently is. But kind of as the sun kind of hits him and nothing happens. It's like, oh, well, that settles that mystery.
Well, it's certainly a thing that we have done.
Yep. I hope it all pans out. I feel like it went pretty well.
Very well indeed. Although we did have quite the bargaining chip, or the pair of them, along with the duck.
That's gonna be a fun story to embellish on over time.
May the truth of the matter never come to light again. We'll have to let Jordan know when we see him next.
Yeah, I guess that day might be coming sooner than we think. So think we ought to go north to the Great Divide, or are we gonna dip into Seregen first and then head north?
We should go find that triple point because there's a lot of people we need to talk to all at once. It's the most efficient, and we can learn the state of the world pretty quickly there, and both be able to report back as well as make an informed decision ourselves.
Yeah, I was just thinking because Seregen's like what, a day from here? That point is like 6, 4, 5 at most. We don't happen to have any mounts around here.
I think we can make it. I'm not worried. Getting to Seregen faster won't do anything but getting people's hopes up of going home when the actual goal is that center point.
Good enough.
Plus, I'm one of those people whose hopes we don't want to be getting up for going home.
Yeah. I am curious what's going on in Seregen, though.
Much that we can guess, and much more that I suspect we can't. Wouldn't be surprised to hear there's another war out and that a bunch of crazy people have decided to side with Orcus or something. Because apparently that's going on even here in more civilized lands.
You don't happen to have any more of those leaves, do you?
We used the last of them.
And Gormir didn't have any in his bag?
Just a sprig of mistletoe.
Hmm.
I mean, from what we were hearing from him, he was making the journey on foot.
Yeah, I suppose they didn't leave him much. What begs the question is then, how to come by dice? I, 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 I didn't see the vampires as a gambling type.
Well, maybe not the Baroness, but someone like Zictor? That wouldn't surprise me at all.
That's a good point.
Who knows how many less couth and scrupulous hunters might be out there who would fit the gambling man stereotype to a T, or to a V even. Plus, you can make that sort of thing if you're willing to spend some time sitting in one place with a bunch of sharp knives.
I suppose. He looks over at the rest of the group. When do you reckon we should waken them up?
Oh, the normal time. "4 hours since we started."
All right. So, any other things to converse with not already?
I'll wait till Shade's here.
Yeah, I did my best. I hope it was accurate. All right. So the second watch is woken, which is Belzian, and I guess do you wake anybody else up, Roger?
Yeah, we'll wake up Yarvik as well.
Okay. Ulrich gets into he pulls out a small box and it unfolds and then unfolds again and then unfolds again and before you know it, it's a human-sized coffin. That he, I guess, obtained at some point during his meeting with the Queen. And he gets inside and says, "Hey, this is the first time using this thing. Could you close my lid?"
Yarvik is just gonna look down into the coffin. It's just, of all of the things that I did not expect to do on this adventure, this is at the top of the list. And then clunk.
You hear a muffle from the other side. You and me both, buddy.
Should we bury him? I have a spell.
I've got a spell for that.
Big Shallow Grave. There's an app for that.
I'm thinking it might be a good idea, because obviously Yarvik and Belzian were not privy to this conversation. To Belzian, I think it might be a good idea. We're not very far from where the old wall used to be. I understand that, that barrier's not there, but I still think it might be safer to travel north to the cross, this central point of the wall. If we cross over into Seregen and truck north that way, I think it might be. I just think it might be a little bit safer. I'll have to bring that up. That's my idea anyway. I'm going to bring that up to the group in the morning, afternoon, whenever we're awake.
Travel the lands we know instead of, well, this? And he kind of gestures at the coffin.
Yep, just all of that. I'm tired of getting chased by vampires. So if we're gonna get chased by vampires, at least we can do it in Seregen.
There's also our elf friends to consider. I mean, these are their woods.
True, but last I remember when we went back and found them, that things didn't go so well for them. So I don't think we have as many elf friends as we used to have.
Look, they imposed a terrible burden on us, and we have completed it. I'm fine to wash my hands of that place. All it has done is getting our friends killed.
Yep.
And he looks both at the freshly dug grave, but also at Ulrich's coffin.
Yeah. About that, looking at Ulrich's coffin, that's a whole lot to unpack. It's a very grave matter.
Heh. Well, I'm interested to see what his family will think.
I mean, if everybody's going to go for the throne, I mean, you know, I've fought and bled with him for a while now. He would have my support. Even if he's a vampire, he's still going to be Ulrich, right? Looks around, right? Right?
Hmm. And despite that, it's hard to say what I'll do if we have to choose. Because you don't remember fighting against him, or the prince that his family supported, except very briefly right at the end.
True. My people basically, certainly I sat out the war, so that wasn't really much of a concern to that. And you know, of what I've seen of war and fighting, I would choose for us not to go down that road again, but I fear it may be inevitable. I do feel, as we talked about with the pact, we still don't know what's happened in Seregen, right? Like we left under instructions, but Seregen was not in a stable place when we left. We beat feet in a hurry. So conceivably, there could still be leaders in Seregen that we still need to get to agree to this whole thing. We may not be done yet.
Well, according to the terms of the pact, we just need to talk to them.
Correct. I think Yarvik's gonna kind of fall silent, kind of grab his pipe, which he has not had a chance to smoke in quite a bit, and take a couple puffs off of his pipe and contemplate the nature of the universe
Well,
and sausage.
despite my misgivings about Ulrich's situation and the thought of having an eternal king of Seregen to pair with the eternal queen of Necrata, I also don't necessarily trust the nobles of Seregen to do the right thing when push comes to shove, so our hand might be forced.
Did you say our hand might be forest or forced?
Forced.
Okay. Sounded like forest, and I was like, oh, that was good.
I mean, tree puns. I am a wood elf.
I hear the assassin.
Only occasionally.
When the mood strikes.
No, when the assassin strikes. I'll see myself out.
And with that, I guess Rogers goes to his trance. um, all right. So, can I have a roll from Jorvik, please, for perception?
Ooh, that was a good one.
So Roger, with your spot check, you're kind of looking for danger, looking for any signs of threat, looking for anything out of the ordinary. During your watch, you didn't see really much of any danger. Ultimately, it's a fairly quiet night. There's not really much going on in this copse of woods that you're in, and you know that the plains are just south of the group, though the forest is thick enough you can't see it from where you currently are. Jaeger, you kind of have a more pragmatic approach to how you perceive things. You're not necessarily looking for threats around you. You kind of just, you know, do what you normally do in terms of being out in the wild, and that's, keep an eye out for signs on the ground of wildlife that might be harmful, plants that might be harmful, things kind of more perceivable, right? Roger is always looking out and as far as possible in every direction, trying to spot a threat, whereas you're more pragmatic and keep an eye on the camp, right? And as such, you do notice that from the camp that you set up, there are a set of small footprints that are running due that lead due east of the where the party rests.
Small footprints. So we'll go take a look. I'm not going to stray from camp, but take a look and see if I can. What kind of prints are these?
They are humanoid and barefoot. Not too much smaller than your own feet.
There's nothing else. They're just footprints, barefoot, humanoid, small to medium stature, east to west.
With the
Or
20,
west.
I'll also give you that they're not just like a steady walk. It seems like whatever made these prints made them in a hurry, almost in scurrying in nature. You see scuff marks and places where the footprints don't land perfectly. You see some footfall land or handfall lands as whoever made these prints also maybe use their hands at some point.
I'm going to hang on to that, wait for the group to get up, and then I will convey that to them. I'm not sensing any great emergency right now that's also leading farther into Necrata, which is the last place any of us want to go. So I will put that under my hat for future reference and let everybody know more.
Okay.
I will keep an eye out in that direction just to see if anybody returns. And then, so it's one set of footprints. So they appear to be in a hurry, but there are no other footprints chasing them.
Correct.
Okay. So it's either something within themselves or maybe something airborne. So, yeah, kind of keep that under my hat. Roger's, it's just me now, right? Roger's gone into meditation, so it's just me.
You and Belzian.
Belzian. I will let Belzian know. Hey, we got some footprints over here. I don't want to do anything about it right now, but we'll talk about it in the morning.
Okay. I don't see any.
They're here. They're small. It's just something I noticed. I definitely they're heading west to Easton to Necrata, which is not where we need to be going right now. So I think we'll probably continue west, but I did want to let the group know, and we can discuss when everybody wakes up.
Okay. All right. Third watch is due.
Yay!
Is anybody spending the watch with Zippo, or is Zippo alone doing this watch?
Everybody else, I would assume, has to go back to sleep.
Yep.
Brunhild is spending the watch with Zippo.
That's
Yeah.
true.
You got this, pal.
All right. Velzian and Jaeger go back to sleep. Zippo rolls perception.
You know what? We just got it. I'm gonna use the inspiration.
Okay. Let's see how much worse you roll. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It happens.
Um,
They knew the danger of letting me do this by myself.
It is
and they still
also
did it.
It is also day, so you're rolling at disadvantage. So roll 2 more times, please. Actually, no. You used your inspiration, so it's just a straight roll. Yeah. You canceled out the
I'm gonna do one for Brunhild.
sevens. Okay, Brunhild it is.
Come on, Brunhild.
Yep, that seems about right.
Yeah. We are literally the best team.
All right. So what are you doing with your watch, Zippo?
Since Zippo feeling the way he is, he's gonna pull out the old Shattered Storm amulet necklace.
Okay.
And he's gonna just mess with it for a minute.
Okay.
Like he's just gonna be like trying to piece it back together to see why, he's still doing this. Why he still feels the way that he does.
Oh, that's you're probably misunderstanding what I messaged you. But that's fine.
Oh, okay. I think I maybe I get one.
I'm talking about the one from Reynard.
Oh, yeah, I was misunderstanding. I was definitely misunderstanding that. Okay, I seen it in there anyway, so I think I'd still mess with it.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah,
he.
that other pact is long gone.
Yeah, that's like whatever you messaged me. I was like, that's weird, and I was like, oh, demon killing time. I got you. Yeah, Zipper will pull up the shattered storm amulet.
All right.
Try to piece it back together for a different reason now. For the reason that his brain is like working weird, and he's like, I did free a genie from this once, so maybe if I, put it back together and there's another one in there, I can get another wish and become a dragon. The fast way.
You feel a wave of nostalgia hit you. It's a recent nostalgia because this was only a few weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago at this point. But you find yourself missing a simpler time. A time when all these things weren't happening, where it was just you and Jordan versus the world. Seems like forever ago now.
Yeah, upon thinking of that, he's gonna think back to that bear statue you mentioned to the vampire queen as well.
Yeah.
He's very determined for that thing. That's been one of his main goals. Is if we ever go back there, he's getting the statue.
So, you remember where that statue is, right?
I think so. I'm pretty sure it was in Jewel.
Yes.
It was in the Magic Shop in Jewel because I hated
Correct.
that guy, and that's how I
Yep.
got the discount from Carl.
Do you remember what the magic shop was called?
No, but I think I remember it was run by a goblin, if I remember correctly. Yes, I thought it was a goblin. Might have been
It was not a
was it a
goblin.
gnome?
Yes, it was a gnome. That's a good old throwback. It was like 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, other than that, Zoa's probably not doing much than, petting on Brunhild whenever he can't figure out how to put the Shattered Storm amulet back together very well.
You're infuriated because one of the centerpieces is missing. You don't know where it is.
Very upsetted.
So
Yeah,
that
he's
puzzle, the puzzle is currently unsolvable. You have all the pieces but one.
he is gonna put it back in this little the bag of boarding. He's gonna place it on the desk, pretty much like try to place it intact as much with just the one piece missing. And he's like, "I'm coming back for this." And when he gets back out, he's not gonna find anything because the reception was bad. But he's gonna scrape his hands against the grass to see if he dropped the piece while putting it together.
All right, do a search check and investigation. Let's see if you can find a broken piece of amulet.
Hey, let's go.
You find several rocks that look to fit that hole.
Definitely taking those.
You find 8 in total.
Got a 1 in 8 chance. Let's go. Yeah, he'll put him back there because he feels like it's probably close for other people to wake up, and he's like sitting around looking around like he was actually on watch.
Yeah. Like, oh wait, I'm supposed to be watching.
Yep.
Roger, you've probably woken up from your trance at this point and kind of watch all of this unfold.
I will smile to myself watching Zippo panic and get ready for everybody else to wake up, but say nothing.
Okay. Before you have a chance to wake anyone up, the lid kicks off of the coffin, and Ulrich clambers out of it very ungracefully. That was the worst sleep I've ever had, he says.
I bet. You weren't sleeping on gold coins. Or fluffy puppies.
Yeah, I've never slept on a bed of puppies.
Pretty soft.
Yeah.
All right. So it is midday at this point. Is well after noon. The day is upon you. It sounds like the party is a little divided on path of travel. So I do want to kind of go meta for a second and say this. We are down 2 members. We have made a lot of progress today. I mean, we've saved days, even weeks of travel going through the Marsupialis. Do we want to wait to decide on direction until next session and leave it here ready for that point and end early since we're down 2 people? Or do we want to kind of discuss things a bit before we end? Which I'm fine either way.
I like waiting so we have their input their input on
Yeah,
their input on it as well.
Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
really struggling. It's been a day, so if we end early, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Any questions or clarifications on things before we end then? I do want to talk about next session. But before we do that, anybody have any questions about anything?
I'd have to go back and double check the exact wording of the pact, but I'm pretty sure that the only people we were asked to go talk to were the leaders of Relic and Necrata.
Okay. Yeah, feel free to look back. So the next session would normally be the 18th. That's what we're making up right now because I'll be away in Memphis next week. So our regularly scheduled session for next would be July 2nd. Nobody has any conflicts with 4th of July being that week at all?
No.
That day should work for me.
Okay.
Yep, that's fine for me.
It should be good for me too. I'll check with Belzian and Ulrich. I anticipate Belzian will be fine since it's a normal session day. But it is the busy year for Ulrich. Hopefully everything's good there. I know he had to end up abandoned session because of work stuff. So I appreciate everyone being out there in Twitchland. Thank you for watching. Sorry to have a shorter session today, only about an hour and 30 minutes. But the good news is that means I can catch up on the summaries. No, it means that we are finally in one of our final legs of our journey. So I am excited to see what happens next, where the party will go, and I hope you are too. Thanks for joining us for another episode of our Seregen campaign, and we'll see you next time. Bye! And I guess one final thing, because we are now leaving the lands of Seregen or Necrata one way or another, before I say goodbye, I do want to, and Briar, you're still here, so you can come off mute. I want to thank you for being an NPC in this campaign for as many sessions as you had been. I know it was more than we originally bargained for, but I hope you had a great time.
I did have a great time. I had so much fun playing the Baroness for, what was it, 10 sessions out of my 1 session cameo.
I think this would mark 11, but maybe 10.
And you did a great job. It has been awesome having you here voicing the Baroness.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
And I am so glad I did not overstay my welcome.
Absolutely not.
Imagine if we dragged you with us all the way to Vanir like we intended to the first time.
It would have been a third of the campaign instead of a 17th.
It also would have been very fun. But I'm glad I got to spend the time with you all that I did, and I wish you luck for the rest of the campaign. I will be watching as I can and rooting for all of you.
Awesome.
All right, folks, that is it for us for tonight. Thanks again to Briar, and thank you all for watching. And if you're watching the VODs, thank you very much for doing so. I really appreciate your time watching our campaign. So, see you next time, and good night.